Hello, dear nanobackers, and welcome back to another update with Mark.
And Max from Woodpecker Games. And today we talk about my favorite character called Ashitaka Ito. And for example, I have a huge print version of him at home.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, maybe you have seen the last video about Korra. She's a hacker and a support character, and now we talk about Ashitaka. But before we show you how Ashitaka work on the battlefield, I think it's really important to understand what kind of character Ashitaka is. For me, Ashitaka is really inspired by the film Princessin Mononoke, and the film give always also the name for Ashitaka, and he do a little bit the same like in the movie. He's a tank, so you have to know he's not a man of words. He's a man of
actions.
And this was a part of deploying Ashitaka where Mark figured it out that in a really strong way. So we talk about the story, and I talk about something like that. Ashitaka is my favorite. He don't say anything. Can he talk a little bit more? And I come with that wish to Mark, and he say, yeah, of course he can say something. But then he called me back and say, what do you have to say? Take a look to his character, and then we're taking a view over the character and over the deployment of the character, and we come to the point, yes, he's not a man of words, he's a man of actions. And have you anything to say about Ashitaka in your case?
Yeah, for me, Ashitaka is really one of the stable things of this group. So you have this very emotional character, Korra, who's like very red-headed, or no, hot-headed, that's the correct word. And you have this a bit mysterious alien who's always like, questioning the things the humans are doing. And then you have this very empathetic woman, Ada, who's like really thinking in the minds of other people. And so you have a lot of like empathetic and emotional characters, and Ashitaka is also emotional, very emotional, but he's somebody who's very disciplined and strong and calm, and I think he's a gravitational center of the group. So a lot of action is going on, but in the end you can like
count on Ashitaka.
You can count on Ashitaka. You can be sure that whatever happens, if Korra is like getting crazy, if Ada is jumping in front to save somebody, if Valid has some crazy alien shit to do, Ashitaka will be there and will be having the group's back. So this is an important thing for me, that he's like a stable in the group psychology. Yeah. That's why he's the tank. That's also like reflected in the rules, like tactics wise. He's the tank. Like he is taking all the burden of damage and of the enemies for the group. So he's doing a really social thing in the group, even though he perhaps does not speak as much as other characters.
Yeah, and when you play Ashitaka, you always try to figure it out. So when I play Ashitaka, I always think about, it will be cool when I have 50% of all enemies attacking me. So that's always my goal.
Yeah.
And this fits together with the inspiration that I have with Ashitaka, with the inspiration of Princessin Mononoke, of Ashitaka from this movie. In this movie, Ashitaka is not a great hero. He is a great hero, of course, but he act like a protector in the movie. He protect the people who love, and and also I think that it's the same as when you take a look to the movie. Ashitaka lost his family. He have to leave his country, his place as a prince in a realm. But with this kind of leaving, the whole realm is destroying. So he lost anything in this movie. That's happened in Princessin Mononoke. Ashitaka lost anything, but in the front of nothing, he's always clear with his acting. He never go back or cry or something else. He always stay forward and have he's focused on his aims, and that's how Ashitaka work in our game, and that's how you have to play Ashitaka.
Let's get over to the table and look at Tabletop Simulator.
You have to put the button. What I do, Okay, you do it.
Okay.
So
So here we have, like, we don't want to show you always the first encounter map. So here you see Artemisia, on which we can show a lot about Ashitaka's actions. So Ashitaka is one of every character in our game is not like super easy to play, so to say. Yeah, you always have to have some tactical imagination to play them. But I think Ashitaka is one of the most advanced one, because with Ashitaka, you always have to think in advance about the enemy turn, which will happen after the character turn. So, Max, could you like show us what I mean with that?
Yeah, what you mean with that is really
Here's
simple.
Ashitaka, by the way.
Yeah, you play Ashitaka, and you have always something like, let's build something up like that. You have for example, we have it like that. You have Korra standing there, have an enemy, Valid standing in front of a huge boss called Artemisia, and you always will find something like that you have one of your friends are surrounded by enemies. So when 4 biomutants have the power to kill Ada.
Yeah.
So we don't have to talk about that. That's surely clear in this game. You play always like that you think about what you can do in your turn, and the most important thing about playing Ashitaka is, where is my position at the end of the turn? Because Ashitaka have this ultimate skill called Provoke, and this skill, I think it's like a back of the group. This skill is really important for the group. It's important like the healing power of Ada. It's important like the hacking power of Korra, and it's important like the blast power of Valid. In any case, kannst du kurz schneiden? Wie sollen wir es jetzt machen? Sollen wir es mit den Würfeln ausgeben?
Okay.
Oder?
Erklär's kurz. Because if you don't, so let's start with provoke. Provoke only makes sense you have to speak provoke, or you have to use provoke during the character turn. So in your turn, you get the 3 skill tokens, which you will later, during the enemy turn, spend to provoke the enemies coming over to you. So the whole concept is, you will have to foresee where enemies will spawn, because let's be serious, let's be honest, this situation hopefully won't be a real situation at the end of a turn. Because if Valid wasn't able to shoot these 4 guys over here and leave everything like that, it would be a really bad turn for the characters. So it's much more realistic that it's something like this. But you will see that there are spawn points over here, there, and there. And on these spawn points, a lot of enemies will spawn. And so Ashitaka's aim is mostly to stand at a point where he can be sure to see lots or even all of the spawn points. So you can see here we see all of these spawn points. For example, we always have line of sight to all of them. But provoke only works before you have leveled it up in range 6. So you also have to be in range 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this would all be in range 6 as well. But so this position would be quite good. So now everything which could spawn could be provoked by Ashitaka. So if we have mutants spawning here or there or over here, they wouldn't go. This one wouldn't go to Valid. This one wouldn't go to Ada, and this one wouldn't go to Ada as well, because Ashitaka can provoke them and bring them all walking over here and mostly losing their turn. So he's also quite efficient in kiting the enemies. So provoke lets you go enemies to go to your place instead of the place which they normally would select during the target selection step. So this is very important. You can get the enemies attacking you instead of the other characters. And therefore you need at the end of your character turn a position to see the spawn points. And if you already have like really bad enemies, let's say like this boss enemy who won't get shredded by Valid in one round, you also have to think about the enemies which are already on the board. But it's mostly Valid's, the main issue of Valid is like destroying as many enemies as possible to have a clear encounter map before the enemy turn. So this is very important, provoking the enemies.
Yeah, and it works. It sounds hard, but it works really easy. You get these tokens on your card, and there will be free tokens. You see it, Mark? You show
And
it.
to go into detail in the provoke skill, it's important to know that you get a certain amount of skill tokens. So here it's written you immediately get 3 skill tokens, and if you get the nanosync by Ada, you even got 4 skill tokens. So you can provoke up to 4 enemies during the round, during the character turn. And if you level it up, as you see the 3 printed on the provoke card, you can also have like 4 skill tokens as a basic value and a 5th enemy to provoke with the Ada nanosync. So this gets really powerful fastly, and it's a very important skill. So let's look into the next skills.
Yeah, the next skill is something we called Oath, and Ashitaka is not only a character that can make damage, but when you take a look to the skill Oath, you see that you have chosen an enemy, and you make an oath that you will defeat him. And when you don't defeat him, you get the damage after attacking. But as long the enemy is on the field, Ashitaka get 1 additional attack die. That means Ashitaka can fight, but he have to decide who fight is what
Fight he
enemy
wants to pick,
to pick out. So he's really cool when you fight against big enemies like Artemisia. You're saying there, just standing there, and you can say, okay, I always protect my comrades with provoke, but I take oath on Artemisia because I want to feed him. So I pick up this enemy, and you can open the fight with a real strong attack when Ada. You see the nanosync token under the skill provoke. Ashitaka gets 2 Ada skill tokens. He may use them before attacking the chosen enemy to get +1 additional attack die. That means it's something like a friendship support from Ada.
Mm-hmm.
She give him strange, and you get like example like you have it on provoke these tokens with the face of Ada on your map, and then you can say, okay, I stand in the front of Artemisia. I want to tag him, so okay, I get 1 additional die for my oath skill. I have my 2. You see my 1 and 2.
For the weapon and the characteristics.
Yeah, for my and the characteristics. Then you say, okay, I take a 2 and place them there, so I unlocked additional die, and then you say I take a token from Ada, then you get an additional die, and then you see you have 5 dices for attack, and that's the value of Valid. It's not so simple to attack like Valid. Valid have other. He just have to shoot.
Or to take the super shots to get 5 dice.
You can fight with Ashitaka, but you need a target that is you have to pick out your target, and you have to focus on your enemy. It's more like a duel. Ashitaka take a look to this enemy and say, yeah, okay, I give an oath, I destroy him. So it's more, it feels like a duel.
It's very important for the Ashitaka player to this is the normal mistake which first time players of Nanolith do a lot, is like attacking with Ashitaka a lot and spending a lot of dice on going with the Neo Katana. Ashitaka is very competent in attacking, but only if he uses his nanoshock ability, or he has like these kind of attacks where he is like summing up a lot of dice for a specific enemy, and this is something which we will also speak about. Swordstorm is a cool skill, but only if you have 4 or more enemies surrounding you. So let's just to make this totally clear, where come these 5 dice from, okay? I will explain it once more. You have Oath. If you speak Oath, you get 1 additional die by attacking 1 certain enemy which you are choosing before or during speaking Oath. So you get 1 die for Oath. Then you get 2 dice for your characteristics on your weapon card and your character card. So you get 3 dice. You can boost your attack by using the upgrade from the Neo Katana with additional dice, so you get another 1. And then you can have the Ada skill token from the Oath ability, which would give you another dice. So this is how 5 dice come together. So a lot of different things which have to align to get this attack. Okay, now let's shortly speak about Swordstorm.
Yeah, I think Swordstorm is for me. It's really simple to say. It's it's a skill that reminds on the Legend of Zelda. You press the A button and you see the Master Sword is glowing, and then Link released this hurricane of a Swordstorm. Run! It's like that. The perfect situation for Swordstorm is the beginning of the character phase of Ashitaka. Because when you play Ashitaka wisely and good, you have a lot of enemies in front of him at the beginning.
Yeah, because they surrounded him during the enemy phase.
In the enemy phase, because you're using Baroque, you have a great position near on the most spawn spaces. So it is I really like that in the most games. You're starting your turn surrounded by enemies, and then sometimes you have enemies like the biomutants. We can take a look. You see the biomutants give you a free attack when you move over a square from him. So
they will attack you for free.
Yeah,
if you leave a square on which a biomutant is situated. So they give you one attack for free.
But let's take a look. Ada, maybe she get down and she need help. She need a nano phoenix or something like else. No, it's not the time to run over a hordes of enemies that attack you for free. So now it's the time to unleash the Swordstorm skill. The Swordstorm skill is really expensive. It's a straight. I think the name on English is straight for that. But you make an attack to each enemy in adjacent one. What means you attack and line of sight. You attack each squares and the squares you are on, and also the diagonal squares, because it's an A1 skill. And the difference is why the skill is so expensive. You don't have a malus on your combat skill. You use your whole combat skill, and yeah, so you can attack. Let's take a look. You have for your character 1 dice. You have for your weapon 1 dice. And then you can spend an additional dice to unlock your weapon skill. Then you have 1, 2, 3 dices for attacking.
Yeah, but this 3rd die for using the upgrade only works for 1 attack. You won't have it for all your attacks. So you have to spend this die for each attack you're doing. So this is not very feasible. Normally, Swordstorm means you attack with 2 dice, with the exception of perhaps the 1st attack. So normally it's not a strong attack. Yeah, so it's only 2 dice. It's okay to hurt a few enemies, or if you already did a few bit damage to them, it's okay. But it's okay. Not a strong attack. The cool thing about it is if you have a lot of enemies to attack. If you have a lot of people standing around you, then it can be a good tactical choice to use Swordstorm.
And you know how it works. Sometimes you have 2 or 3 enemies just leave with 1 life point, and there, so then it's good to unleash or how it calls in, I think in WoW was area attacks.
Or it could be, or imagine Korra had her, we talked about Korra last time. Korra had a nanoshock ability before, and she moved all the people over here, and they were already attacking each other. So you already have a few hurt enemies there, or they are all positioned in a way, let's say like this. So you will just hurt them to make your nanoshock attack later over them. So it's good, but you shouldn't. It's not as if Swordstorm is really killing full health enemies. It won't.
No.
And it costs a lot of dice. So look out for the situations, or build the situations in which you really can use Swordstorm well, and don't just think because you have an AoE, it's always a very good attack.
Yeah, but we forgot one point, because you said in the beginning, in the heart of Ashitaka sleeps a dragon, and this dragon sometimes come out. And this dragon calls Rush Attack. Let us talk about the nano shock attack of Ashitaka, because I think she's really, really mighty. Or what do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best nanoshock attacks in the game.
Yeah. So how the nanoshock attacks work, I think everybody knows that at that point. When you get full with stress, you get this token, and you can spend this token as a as a free action, and then unleash your nano rush. Mark, can you put the card inside the camera? So move up 6 squares forward in a straight line. Attack all enemies in each square that was part of this movement. The enemies use their nanoshock against this attack. For doing this attack, ignore all enemy special skills. That means, for example, when you rush over a line of biomutants, they don't get the free attack against you because you ignore that. And more important is that when you use a nanoshock, your dice value is you unlocked anything what you get. That means you have 1 die for your player card, 1 die for your weapon, and 1 die for your weapon upgrade. That means you have 3 dices for each enemy, and that's the skill work like that. You move 6 squares and move like there, and you attack all enemies in there. You attack this one, this one, this one, and this one. And more important for all of them is that the enemies use their nanoshock defense value. Take a look to the defense value. You need a 5 or higher for a normal close combat, but when you take a look to the thunder, that's the nanoshock lightning, yeah, the lightning, that's the nanoshock value. You see the biomutants have a 4, so it's a from a D8 it's a 50% to make damage. And
no, it's even more. Like it's almost 70%. It's 60 something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And really cool is it's a lot of dice you roll, and it can be happen that you roll a lot of ones in this dice rolls.
See, even this very bad roll has 2 hits, as you can see.
2 hits. And that means if you're a little bit later in the game and your red nanoshock attack is like here, that means you make a first rush, roll a lot of ones, get stressed, and then you stand there, and at the end of your turn you have at the end of your attack you have refreshed and get the next nanoshock, and then you can immediately use them and rush down.
Yeah, I not want to interrupt you, but just to make this clear, you get stress when you roll once. Because you roll a lot of dice, it's quite good possible that you have a lot of ones being rolled, and for each one the stress goes up once. So when you end your nanoshock attack, it's quite realistic that you already prepared the next nanoshock attack, and this can like really have a chain interaction that can go on and on.
Yeah, and on and on. And believe us, you will have this situation when you play Nanolive, that you see a lot of enemies on the field surrounded. Maybe one of the characters dead, and you think, oh my god, what's happened? We can miss that. And then you see Ashitaka make 3 or 4 nanoshocks and clear the board, and that can happen, and that's so an amazing feeling. And everybody say, what?
I thought he's the tank. Why is he killing so much? Yeah, because you can be very proficient with your sword, but you have to check out the situations under which you can do this. Yeah, I think this is the most important stuff. I mean, we can also like have a little glimpse into the level 2 cards, which you can also unlock during the prototype session and so it's possible to get more defense value, for example, or to even give other people armor, which is super helpful. But it accompanies very well the skills you already have. But the most important skills, which you really should try to master quite fastly, is at best in the first round of your game, is provoke. Like, check out where will the enemies come, position yourself during the character turn in a position in which you have line of sight and correct range to the spawn points on the map. Here, those are the spawn points. So try to foresee the enemy spawn phase and activation phase and position you correctly, and do provoke. I mean, this is just the normal first round that the Ashitaka player does not know that he needs to provoke, and then you get like stumped by the enemies. And in the second round, you say, "Oh my god, the enemies are like crazy! Why? How is this designed? This game?" And it's designed around Ashitaka taking off the pressure of the enemy turn by provoking the enemies. So this is very important. And secondly, use Swordstorm if you have a good opportunity to use it. But use the rush ability if you really want to damage the enemies and want to really clear the field. So those are a few tips from the designers.
Yeah, but it feels like the whole company is like a puzzle, you know.
Yeah.
You have to realize when you play with these 4 beautiful characters, each of them has his position and is a part of a big puzzle.
Yeah.
And the game is always designed like that. Like Mark example for a minute: Ashitaka provoke, Korra support, will lead kills, and Ada, it's like the engine.
Heals and buffs.
And
it's very it's very
running the train.
Yeah, and there's one more thing. I mean, yeah, you have to check out this puzzle, but we are just presenting you the basic puzzle in the prototype, but we are permutating this puzzle quite a bit in the later encounters, because the special rules of each scenario, of each encounter, can change the behavior of characters so crazy that, for example, let's just pretend there is an effect. As soon as you get hit and you take 1 damage, your defense value gets really low. So this is really bad if you have Ashitaka trying to provoke every enemy on the field or on the map, because as soon as he gets hit once, he won't be able to provoke in a good way anymore, or the other enemies, because his defense values are very bad now. For example, this is something where you have to think out of the box and then try out something different. Or just one more example, pretend we have enemies on the boards which are like super hard to hit by shooting attacks, but hacking is super good to kill them. So Korra becomes, just by the special rules which we incorporated in the encounter, some kind of new damage dealer. So these kind of like permutations you will find all the time. Like you have to puzzle out how the characters work like normally.
In each scenario.
Yeah, you have to check out how do they work like in a normal encounter, which is the first or even the second. But then all the encounters are like giving you new problems, and you have to solve them with your creativity and with your knowledge of the tactical powers of the characters.
But you have to realize that, it is like that, but the normal role, let's say.
I think we can stop the Tabletop Simulator demo, don't you think, Max? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think. Go out of that.
Yeah. Then I can. Okay. So let's just talk a bit general anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about German. What I want to say is, each encounter have a different mechanics, and each encounter will challenge the position, will challenge the jobs of the character. So you have always to think about how work it, but you never forget that the basic must be made. You know, it's like Ashitaka has to provoke, but he also have to make, I don't know, a special thing. Korra have to hack, but she have to attack in this scenario also. And I think a good position, a good finger being good to think about these scenarios is like, you think about play the mission, not the enemies. The enemies, I think, Mark, you tell that very, very clear on the designer diary about the monster about stress and the activation. There are enemies on the field and they are hit you, but the final goal is to success the objective. I think that's
totally. And then there's one thing more. So in special circumstances, like every rule needs an exemption. Like in special occasions, it can be really important and really valuable to not provoke with Ashitaka and to not attack with Valid or to hack with Korra. It depends. Like you will see, like in certain situations, you just say, come on, now all the damage output, as much damage as we can get, like everybody is hitting everything, and then we will get this boss down in this round, and this is the bet we are doing now. So don't provoke, just go all in. These kind of situations happen, and there's even more stuff. So it's not like you always have to do this stuff, but yeah, it's a normal mechanic. If Ashitaka is not provoking, the enemy turn can get like really bloody on really the character side.
But you will like this. You will like this conversation with your friends. You stand around the book, and you see, and then one guy, and there's one guy that make the first thing say, okay, I think we have to go all in, and then you start thinking different and say, okay, forget all of that, let's go all in, and then
Yeah.
Magical moments will happen.
This is really cool. And then there's also like this, your friends will be like really happy when you're saving them by taking on the enemies. Like Ashitaka, playing Ashitaka is really like, it feels really good. It's like, oh no, you don't have to fear the enemies. Just give them to me. Like I take this one and this one and that one. Oh, and I take this one as well. So
and this one. Yeah, but
I got your back. It's really cool.
Yeah, but when you take a look to the life points of the other characters, each character have 10 life points. Don't forget that. But Korra get a hit, she get 5 points.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
This is a very important information for you.
Yeah, we forget that.
Why is Ashitaka so incredibly tanky? Why does he do this so well? It's because of two things. The first one, his defense values are very high. So his normal defense values, all but the nanoshock defense value, are against 6s. So he's not hit so easily at first. Secondly, and this is the most important thing, he's got 1 point of armor. So whenever an enemy hits him, let's pretend he hits him with 3 dice, 2 of them are hits, then he won't get 2 damage. He will just get 1 damage, because the first hit is always like, it's the first hit gets like is unsuccessful. He ignores the first hit of every dice roll of the enemies against him. So this is armor, and this concept is really important, and this is why Ashitaka is so proficient in tanking.
But it's really you have to always to put this in your head, because you play Ashitaka, it goes like I do the same like that, and you ignore damage. You say damage, it's nothing for me. I forget about damage. So yeah, take this enemy, but you get not so much damage, but you get damage, and that damage you get really slow, and then there comes the point where I get all of this damage, and you say, okay, the next rush will kill me. Okay.
Ada, save my life. Okay, people. It's like it's the nature of the video that it gets a bit like unstructured at times. So you get the information that armor is like the key momentum of Ashitaka in the last minutes. But we hope you enjoyed it, even though, because it's always really nice to record these videos for you. We hope you enjoy Ashitaka. I'm really glad that this vision of Max made it into the game. I think it's one of the most joyful characters to play. It's really fun. And yeah, from my side, this would be all. Max, do you want to say anything else?
All characters are vision.
Yeah,
we make all of this. We make all of these characters with all of the skills come from the button of our heart to the play table.
Yeah, but Ashitaka has a special place in your heart.
Of course he have. I say I don't anything about the game. I say I make a cyber samurai called Ashitaka. So now let's design a game. No, it's not like that. But I like him.
Okay, so thank you very much, dear Nanobackers. If you have any more questions regarding Ashitaka, just comment below. We would be really glad to answer any questions which pop up. And from our side, that's all. See you soon. Thank you very much for your support. See you.
Bye-bye.